Oh, hello, welcome back to the YouTube channel. MFJJ here with PodiumArcher.com, looking at the 2026 Consequence SD from Darton. It's their new short draw length bow. One, thank you Darton for making a short draw length bow. And the reason you need to thank Darton for making a short draw length bow is it's never going to be a big amount of their sales. So these things traditionally, when they go down this route, aren't really profitable. They're trying to make it to fill a category for the consumer to be able to have that's more adequate and appropriate to them. This looks like it would be a very high performance bow for a shorter draw length person. Specs of 309 at 28 inches is pretty freaking fast, not gonna lie. And this is a different cam base and everything from what they had before. Standard limb pocket, the same on the Consequence as I see, but this is definitely on a diet. This bow comes in at 4 pounds, has a 7 1/16 inch brace height, and a 30 1/16 inch axle to axle. Coming at $749, yeah, sorry. This bow is going to come into you at $749, and you should really go down to your local archery shop and try it out. They need you, you need them. It's a relationship you need to cultivate if you're going to be successful in this sport. Don't buy it from me. Please go buy it from them. If you're going to buy it online, and only if you're going to buy it online, PodiumArcher.com for all those archery needs, $99 and up is free shipping, and coupon code MFJJ may save you a little bit of money. This bow is actually pretty sweet for a shorter draw length person. I would take a really good hard look at it if you're looking for a more performance geared bow for a youth or a lady. And it's coming in at a price that's actually relatively reasonable for something that's really going to give you some high performance specs. But let's measure a couple of things and see what we get to. Fortunately, they did put the same limb pocket on here that allows you to use the bipods, and they did do rear mount integration. They did not do a front mount pick, but I'm guessing that's probably trying to keep the weight down, because this bow is really light for a Darton. Let's measure some stuff. All right, so it looks like we're just a smidgen under 30. Yeah, just barely. Just barely. 7 1/16, and that looks, yeah, looks about right. All right, this looks like it's gonna have a really straight riser. Let's see how long our riser is. 6 3/4-ish, 26 7/8. Nice, let me write that down. So this is a good example of what we call a neutral riser. There is no reflex, there is no deflex. It's just straight. And that basically constitutes, similar to the Consequence originally, it's really hard to torque a bow that has no reflex in it. Reflex amplifies your torque. So this will be a super forgiving bow. If it can get anywhere near that speed, that's gonna be really impressive. All right, 4.2 pounds, 2/10 for the Euro rest. It's right at 4 pounds. Imagine that. It's hard to believe they got to make a bow so heavy for a guy when they can make a 4-pound bow. Draw length looks like 28 1/4 or 1/8 maybe. So pretty damn close. Pretty much a standard. Everybody goes over it a little bit for one reason or another. Okay. 30. So we don't have 250 grain arrows to shoot this bow at 50 pounds at 28 inches. So the last thing I got is 300 grain arrows. We'll try to do some backwards engineering on the math portion of this to tell you what it should have shot, etc., to see how close we get to this number. But we are going to shoot it at 50 pounds, 28 inches, and 300 grain arrows. We will also shoot it at 27, so you have the 1-inch factor, and we will give it a decibel test. All right, so we got 50 pounds, 300 grain arrows at 28 inches out of the Consequence SD. Let's see what this cycle feels like. That's a really smooth draw, and that's a great back wall for 50 pounds. Like, that's really stiff. One of the things you'll run into a lot on these lighter poundage, shorter draw length bows, hang on, 284, 285. What you'll run into frequently is that the back wall is real soft. It's easy to make a heavier poundage bow have a really great back wall. Lighter poundage bows, it can be on the difficult side of things, and this has a great back wall. 285, 284. One more here. All right, so a 284 average, we're going to go ahead and set this at 27 inches and figure out how much you're losing per inch. All right, we're back down to 27 inches of draw length now. This should give us a good fair number of how much per inch you're going to lose in speed. We're at 27 now. 271, 273. So 272 average. 273 average still. One more. 272, 277. So we're still going to stick with that 273 number for the 1 inch, and we'll give you a decibel reading here. We'll pull those arrows out if you want to set that up.
79 and a half. 79. 78 and a half.
All right, so that's a 79 average. All right, so we got 79 on the decibels. We'll go do some calculating here and see what we get. Okay, so it looks like we got about 11 foot a second per inch, so you can factor that down as you shorten the draw length. Backwards engineering the math and the velocity we got with a 300 grain arrow at 50 pounds instead of a 250 grain arrow at 50 pounds. For every 5 grains, you're going to get a foot to a foot and a half, somewhere in there. So we're going to say a foot and a half, so that would be adding 15 feet to that. So that gets you 299, and 309 is within 10. So that number is actually probably realistic. And traditionally for every inch of draw length, like here you got 11 feet, add 22 feet to that, and that would be 331. This bow with 7 inches of brace height would shoot 331 at IBO at 30 inches if it could go to it. That's really impressive numbers. That's really good. And like I said, 79 dB. It's relatively quiet. We're probably going to have to do like a 4 on sound for that because that's a pretty low number. Well, this isn't a soup. Do we even do the numbers? Because you can't. So I can't really fairly give you a numeric score for this. I know that's not very fair, but these numbers are all based off of adult male bows. This doesn't hit those specs, so all these numbers are going to get really skewed unfairly. Maybe I'll go through at one of these points and figure out a different spectrum for shorter draw length bows or things in that category. There's only a few in the category to begin with. I think there's like 5 realistically that aren't just broad adjustable kids bows. So maybe that's something we should really focus on in the future. But all in all, that bow is incredibly impressive for the money, really good speed, relatively quiet, legitimately under 4 pounds or right at 4 pounds. It's a very impressive product. You know, definitely try that bow out if you're in this spectrum in this configuration, or maybe hop on the website and pick one up. Happy to help you out there any way we can. Appreciate all the support, guys. Comment down below on if we need to create a different metric for shorter draw length bows so we can really truly measure them against each other. But I just don't know if there's enough of them for it to justify the time involved. Let me know what you think.